Iceland, the land of fire and ice, home to volcanoes, glaciers, and elves? Yep, you're in for a wild ride. Forget what you think you know. This isn't just a scenic destination for Instagram travelers. Iceland is full of strange customs, surreal landscapes, and facts that feel like science fiction. Let's dive in. Fact 1. Iceland has no mosquitoes. Not a single one. Despite having fresh water, wetlands, and summer temperatures, Iceland is one of the few places on Earth with zero mosquitoes. Scientists believe it's due to the island's freeze-thaw cycle. The constantly shifting temperatures make it impossible for mosquito larvae to survive long enough to hatch. So yes, you can hike, camp, and sleep with the window open, completely bite-free. A literal traveler's paradise. Fact 2. There are more sheep than people. Iceland's human population is about 370,000. The sheep population? Over 800,000. Sheep roam freely across the countryside in summer. They're only rounded up in autumn, in a traditional event called retir, where locals on horseback gather them in mountain corrals. You'll often see them chilling alone on hillsides, unfazed by the weather or your camera. Fact 3. There's a penis museum, yes, seriously. In Reykjavik, you'll find the Icelandic Phallological Museum, the only museum in the world dedicated to penises. It features over 280 specimens from more than 90 species, including whales, seals, and even a few humans. It's bizarre, scientific, awkward, and surprisingly popular. You'll laugh, you'll squirm, you'll definitely learn something. Fact 4. Babies nap outside, even in freezing temperatures. In Iceland, it's common to see babies sleeping in strollers outdoors, bundled up in warm clothes, even in sub-zero temperatures. Locals believe the fresh air boosts immunity and improves sleep. It's not neglect, it's tradition. In fact, many parents say their babies sleep better outside. Don't be surprised if you see strollers lined up outside cafes with no one watching. The parents are just inside. Fact 5. Iceland has a naming committee. You can't just name your kid anything in Iceland. There's an official committee, the Mananafnanefnd, that approves or rejects baby names based on grammar, tradition, and whether they fit Icelandic language rules. If a name doesn't decline properly in Icelandic grammar, it can be rejected. Even foreign names often get turned down. This also means that Icelanders don't have family names like most countries. Everyone is known by their first name and their father's or mother's name, with son or daughter at the end. Fact 6. There are no McDonald's restaurants in Iceland. Iceland had McDonald's once, but after the 2008 financial crisis, they pulled out and never came back. Today, you won't find a single McDonald's or Starbucks in the country. Instead, Iceland has its own chains and a preference for local, high-quality ingredients. One of the last McDonald's burgers sold is still on display and hasn't decomposed after more than 10 years. It's live-streamed 24/7 in a glass case. Fact 7. You can swim in a crater. In the south of Iceland, there's a volcano called Viti, which literally means hell. Inside its crater lies a surreal geothermal lake. The water is warm, turquoise, and perfect for a surreal swim. But it's not just Viti. Iceland is filled with geothermal pools, hot springs, and spas, including the famous Blue Lagoon. In winter, you can float in steaming water while snow falls around you. It's magic. Fact 8. The country believes in elves. A surprising number of Icelanders, surveys say up to 50%, believe in the existence of elves, or at least won't rule them out. Construction projects have been delayed or rerouted due to elf habitats, known as alagabletter, enchanted spots. There are even elf whisperers who consult on where to build roads so as not to disturb the hidden people. Whether you believe or not, it's deeply rooted in the culture. Fact 9. Beer was illegal until 1989. Yes, beer. Iceland banned it in 1915 along with all alcohol. While wine and spirits were gradually legalized again, beer over 2.25% alcohol remained banned until March 1st, 1989. Today, March 1st is celebrated as Beer Day, with festivals, pub crawls, and of course, lots of beer. And despite the late start, Iceland has developed a thriving craft beer scene. Fact 10. Iceland runs almost entirely on renewable energy. Nearly 100% of Iceland's electricity comes from renewable sources, primarily hydroelectric and geothermal. Homes are heated with geothermal hot water, electricity is cheap and clean, and the country emits very little carbon. They've even invited cryptocurrency miners because of how eco-friendly their energy is. Fact 11. You can drive a car between two continents. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge, where the North American and Eurasian tectonic plates meet, cuts right through Iceland. In the Thingvellir National Park, you can literally walk, snorkel, or drive between the continents. The Silfra Fissure, in particular, is famous for snorkeling and diving, with some of the clearest water on Earth, and a chance to float between tectonic plates. Fact 12. There are no surnames in Iceland. Iceland doesn't use family names the way most countries do. Instead, surnames are formed from the parent's first name. If your father's name is John and you're a boy, your last name will be Jonsson. If you're a girl, it's Jonsdottir. Everyone is on a first-name basis, even with the president. Phone books are alphabetized by first name. It's equal parts charming and confusing. Fact 13. There are more books published per capita than almost anywhere. Iceland has one of the highest rates of authors and book publishing in the world. There's even a tradition called Jólabókaflóð, the Christmas book flood, where people exchange books on Christmas Eve and spend the night reading. Reading is so central to Icelandic identity that even gas stations sell books. It's not unusual to meet someone who has written and published at least one book. From elf houses and beer bans to underwater tectonic dives and crater swimming, Iceland is one of the most unique places on Earth. It's cold, volcanic, windy, and yet one of the most welcoming and magical countries you'll ever visit. If you ever go, prepare to be surprised. And if you're from Iceland, tell us, did we miss something weird? This is Curiosity AI. Subscribe for more videos that uncover the strangest corners of our world.